I wanted to follow up my thoughts on the video that I posted yesterday, which was an article from the Financial Times, but which originally was from the American Enterprise Institute, which is a neocon think tank. And you can go back and watch that video for the details. I don't want to rehash too much here. But what it was essentially saying, the title really is the thing that stood out the most. The title read, "PSYOPs are a necessary tool or necessary weapon in the war against disinformation," something along those lines. Something to the effect that PSYOPs are necessary. Now, this immediately struck my eyes. Because PSYOP is a term that you don't generally hear people who are in charge of PSYOPs. You don't generally hear them using that term, PSYOP. You usually hear them acting as if the whole concept of PSYOPs is just not something that happens at all, not something that they're involved with at all. It's a term that's, when you hear it used, it's usually used by people who are pointing out some atrocity that's been committed, some propagandistic mind rape that's been carried out. Maybe not an atrocity in the sense of like mass murder is an atrocity, but something where the whole point of it is to get inside people's minds and mess with them for the purpose of furthering one's agenda or cause. This is, in other words, it's dirty stuff. You don't usually hear PSYOPers talk about, yeah, well, I do PSYOPs. They might talk about it being, they might talk about it when others do it, when those who oppose them are doing it. But they would never say, or would hardly ever say, we are engaged in PSYOPs right now. But this article said PSYOPs are necessary as a tool or a weapon against in the war against disinformation. So right there's a kind of revelation of the method going on. There's a kind of admission, there's this embrace of this term that is really toxic to those who would promote it, those who would promote their own side. And this attempt to justify it, this attempt to say we can commit these massive mind rapes because we're battling disinformation. Now, in the article, nothing is stated about no real dirty, filthy, awful, MK Ultra-esque PSYOP is detailed. So there's only a slight revelation of the method, if that. In the fact that it's even referring to PSYOPs at all. But the devil is in the details, and this has really hit me harder today. Oftentimes this happens. I look at an article or some commentary somewhere, and I comment on it. I have my initial reactions to it, and then I have a delayed reaction where I realize, whoa, now I see the import of all of this in a way that I hadn't recognized before. So, again, the devil is in the details. And if you read between the lines, what do you find in that article? Which, again, go back to my video from yesterday, and you can hear me talk about it. Unfortunately, you can't look up. Well, it's sort of a weird thing. You can apparently find this article from some venues, but not from others. I was able to access it on my smartphone, but when I tried to bring it up on my laptop, it said that I needed to subscribe to the Financial Times in order to read the article. And when I tried to send it to others for them to read it, they reported getting that same message. So anyway, if you want to hear, it's not very long. If you want to hear hear me read most of the article and comment on it, again, look at my video from yesterday. But what you find over and over and over again in this article is that they keep talking about people who take a dissident posture, people who have a dissident perspective on various things, and the one thing that they refer to the most is, of course, this thing, roll up your sleeve and take that needle. That thing is the thing that they bring up the most, and the people who are against the mandates, and how they have what it keeps saying over and over again is that these people are actually in league with, or at least dupes of, hostile foreign conductors of disinformation. So I don't know how they claim that to be the case with the Baj, get it, B-A-J, spelled backwards. I'm just repeating that for those who haven't heard me use that term before. Sorry if it's tedious for those who already know what I'm talking about. But I don't know how they make that argument for the Baj. Like, are all of these people reporting side effects? Some quite severe side effects, up to and including death. Are they all just getting paid off by the Kremlin to foment this discontent, to disrupt the smooth order of things, to disrupt people just going about and doing what they're told by the pharmaceutical companies and their government officials and all these other supposedly trustworthy people? I mean, is that all? Are they trying to say that that's all made up? It's the same thing that struck me when they were saying that about Pizzagate. And they were saying, oh, it's just Russian disinfo. Was the Comet Pizza Ping Pong page? Did the Russians make that page? I don't think so. Did the Russians come up with the Podesta letters and write what's in them? I don't think so. Did the Russians have someone imitate Marina Abramovich talking about spirit cooking and what it entails? And then for some reason the real Marina Abramovich never refuted those claims, even though it wasn't really her, because she would never really propose such a ghastly thing. I don't think so. So all of the efforts to paint this, the people who are dissidents about the Baj, the truckers, and the rest of us, whoever we might be, whatever, they're those of us who are referred to in that article as the usual suspects. Somehow the notion that that access to facts and information that we're not given by the mainstream media, that when we get that information, it gives us a fuller, clearer picture of what this is all about and why it might not be such a good idea, although it's, I favor people having the choice to take it or not. But this entire argument, which is there's never evidence for it given in this article. It's just asserted, that foreign powers, mostly Russia, of course, but they also mention China, and they even mention Iran. So the new axis of evil, Russia, China, and Iran, are the ones who are fomenting this kind of these dissident movements, like people who are who they call anti-vaxxers, but who are really against mandates, against it being mandatory for the most part. That they're more than they are against the choice, against people having the choice to do it or not. But that was what really struck me, and in retrospect, that's what I find somewhat chilling about that article, is, especially now, with Putin having chosen to invade the Ukraine, and kind of upping his profile a little bit. Now it's like, well, I get the feeling that it's going to be much easier for them to say, those dissidents, these people who are such nuisances, who are causing, who are opposing us and opposing our designs for the nation and for the world, who are opposing the Great Reset and all of our other wonderful globalist notions for the new normal that we're building, that all of those people are just a bunch of Putin shills. That's what they're going to call us, and it's like, for most of the last year and a half, I haven't heard too much of that. There's been so much censorship, and there's been so much just like what they call gaslighting, when someone presents a point of view or asks a question, and then they are immediately shouted down, yelled at, canceled, pushed out of the realm of acceptable discourse, kicked off of social media, all those kinds of things. I mean, all those dirty tactics they've been using quite liberally over the last year and a half or 2 years. But it seems that now maybe they're going to start with something that's even more egregious, which it seemed like they were starting to say with the trucker stuff. They were saying, oh, well, this is, obviously there are foreign powers behind this. And just like they attempted to do with Pizzagate, oh, this is just Russia. The Russians are behind this. It's Russian bots who are spreading these outrageous notions, these outrageous stories about our wonderful elected and unelected leaders really being very deeply, darkly terrible people engaged in perverse and evil activity. So they're going to go after us in that way now as well. And it'll be, rightly or wrongly, and well, it'll definitely be wrongly, but the notion that the fact that Putin has chosen to wage war, I don't believe it was war without provocation, the way they're talking about it now, but he's raised his profile, and so now anyone who goes against the agenda of the World Economic Forum and all of their sick crew, they're going to be called Putin stooges, or at least Putin dupes. And again, it makes no sense. It doesn't. It's deeply dishonest. It's scurrilous to make such claims. But are they the kind of people who would hold back from doing such a thing because it's dishonest and scurrilous and sleazy and wrong? No. So we'll see where this all takes us. But that was my delayed reaction to that article that I read yesterday. Tell me what you think below, if you care to. My name's Andy Nowicki. Please check out my work at altrightnovelist.com. My latest book, The Insurrectionist, can be purchased from terrorhousepress.com.